Hi, so I'm gonna do a quick analysis of Tidehunter gameplay. Uh, the purpose of this video is twofold. First of all, just to get back into an analysis mindset for Dota 2, and the other is to explore further about Tidehunter's abilities and how do you get to a point where he's a strong hero and a presence in the game. So before we start, I think the important thing to know is what is Tidehunter's role. So Tidehunter is best. We can look at his stats. The strength hero. So he's basically a very tanky person. He has his abilities is gush, which slows and also applies an armor reduction. Note that this is for 4.5 seconds. So anyone who anyone would be pretty much slowed for 4.5 seconds when gush is applied to them, and the armor reduction will stay. His next spell is Kraken Shell, which is probably his most underrated or misunderstood ability. So basically, what this means is that if Tidehunter takes more than a certain damage threshold, if he gets stunned, that stun will be cancelled. So, and this will take place within 7 seconds. So let's say multiple heroes are attacking Tidehunter at the same time. At some point, the damage threshold will reach 450. If someone uses a stun, the stun is cancelled. So you can keep this in mind. So I don't think I'll get into the details for now, but the other component of Kraken Shell is the damage block. And damage block historically is best when you're taking damage from very, very small amounts of damage from many units. So at 70, that's typically the amount of damage that a level 1 or let's say level 4 hero does in the game. So let's say you somehow had max level Kraken Shell, you pretty much will be unkillable from auto attacks. Anchor Smash is probably the ability that Tidehunter will be using the most, and what this does is that it first of all provides damage to your auto attack. So it will take your auto attack plus your anchor damage together. It also reduces damage from the units that are hitting you. So let's say you anchor smashed, let's say a Witch Doctor, then Witch Doctor will be doing like let's say 30% to 60% less damage to you. So this is really good in combination with Kraken Shell, because with the damage block plus the Anchor Smash, basically when these two are active, it makes it very difficult to kill Tidehunter. Once again, also looking at this, the Anchor Smash duration lasts for 6, which also synergizes with his primary ability, which is a Gush, where you use Gush for 4.5 seconds, and then you have an Anchor Smash. So this is probably his most spammable ability, and you probably will be using this the most. Another thing to note about Anchor Smash is that it's also an auto attack cancel. So what this means is that you can use this spell to cancel the backswing of your auto attacks. So let's say you right clicked, and once your attack hits the creep or the unit, you can use this ability to cancel the backswing, so resetting the hero back to the normal position, and then it will apply the spell. Then it will allow you to cancel this backswing into another auto attack. So a simple combo would be auto attack, Anchor Smash into auto attack. Alright, his last and most unique spell is called Ravage. This is probably one of the game-winning spells if you get it off of multiple heroes. And basically what it means is that in a large area around Tidehunter, starting from the middle, spreading outwards, it will cause damage and also stun for 2.4 seconds. So this is good, and typically people see it as an initiation tool, but as I'll get to in a bit, it actually makes it also makes it a tool that has a lot of threat, and that threat is also important because when Ravage is up, it means that the fight will go very, very well in Tidehunter's team's favor because of the large stun and the large damage. The big downside is that if Ravage isn't used properly, it goes off cooldown for 150 seconds across all levels. So it's almost 2 minutes and 30 seconds where you cannot use this ability. So it's very important to know when to use Ravage, and also how to create the most threat from this ability. So let's talk about starting items as well. So I think this is probably like the most standard starting item. So what you do is get Tangos for regen, Curling Blade, and Competence of Strength. So the idea is that in the early levels, Tidehunter can actually trade with a lot of level 1 heroes using Anchor Smash, And so getting Quelling Blade will allow you to do more damage to the creeps, so allows you to last it better with Anchor Smash. And then also getting Gauntlets of Strength will increase your attack damage, meaning that it's easier to last it in the lane. And also, once you complete the Bracer, Bracer will give quite a substantial amount of health regen, so 0.75, which is very, very good in the early game. So this is probably a standard, but considering what options to move on to in the next part of the next phase of the game, I think we need to move forward with the discussion. So let's take a look at this particular game. So in this game, there's on the allied side is Lina, Tidehunter, Earth Spirit, and Abaddon and AA. So it's very easy to see what is the strategy in this game. So in this case, you have 3 very tanky heroes that is basically stunning and provides a front line, and 2 heroes at the back doing damage. So it's really important that these 3 stay in the front, keep diving, whereas it provides protection for the back 2 heroes. On the other team is Ogre, Witch Doctor, Enigma, Invoker, and Bristleback. So this team, it looks very, very annoying. So the key combo here would be something like Witch Doctor, Enigma, and Invoker, providing like spells, whereas you have the 2 frontline Ogre, Magi, and Bristleback. Relevant to Tidehunter, in this lane will be against Bristleback and Witch Doctor. So in this case, it's actually quite a decent lane for Tidehunter, but it can be difficult. And the reason why is because with the Witch Doctor's spell, Maledict, it can make it very hard for you to lane. So if you take a lot of damage from, let's say, the Bristleback and a burst from Witch Doctor within the first tick of Maledict, you can actually lose a lot of health. So the goal is not to play safe and not to take as much Maledict damage as possible. But especially versus the Bristleback, there won't be much trouble because after you max Kraken Shell and Anchor Smash. So the goal of the game, this lane, is basically just to survive, and you're not going to be looking to be punishing many different heroes. Although there might be opportunities to kill the Witch Doctor. So if you're looking at your lane as well, you have Earth Spirit. Earth Spirit typically can jump on to a squishy target and then with a stun, then follow up with Gush and maybe like something like Blood Grenade, gives it a good condition to kill. But for the most part, you won't be doing much of that. So Tidehunter's objective in this lane is to survive, but also it's important to get farm. So the easiest way to do this is to drag the creep wave away from the Witch Doctor, who's going to be hitting you. So Bristleback starts with does very little damage at the start of the game, whereas Witch Doctor does a lot because of his high base damage and also it's a range hero. So the main first idea is to drag your creeps away from the wave so that it's on a safer place towards you and the Earth Spirit. So it will force the Witch Doctor or any other support to come out into the wave and a bit more exposed, as opposed to be sitting in this location here with the trees and with vision and being able to hit forward. Yeah, so this is an example of taking too much damage. So in this case, our Tidehunter player here took too much damage from both the cast and standing too close to the Bristleback. So the ideal way to do this would just be to play safe, drag the creeps away, and try and not take as much cool damage. And then hopefully to buy time. So luckily, the wave will be pushing here, so which means Tidehunter is slightly safer. So you can try and creep aggro here, and then drag the creeps backwards. So I'm gonna skip a bit here until Tidehunter gets a bit more levels. Okay, so at level 2, Tidehunter now has the Anchor Smash ability, which, like I said, is a very important timing in the lane, as the Anchor Smash will be able to let Tidehunter basically do more damage. So one of these good use cases is when there's like multiple creeps, and then you just use Anchor Smash to clear as many of them as possible. So in this case, yeah. Very important here is to be using the Anchor Smash to like last hit as well. So getting the timing correct. So this will probably do like something around 100 damage to creeps. Okay, so this is another way that Tidehunter can set up kills in the lane. So very early on, Gush is actually quite strong with the slow, and because most heroes don't have like mobility or other spells to use to save them, Gush is a good way to get kills. So in this case, most Tidehunter games will start with Anchor Smash, as it allows you to last it easily. But when you start, if you have an opportunity to on level 2 take Gush to get a kill, it's also a good way to get kills. Accelerate your game. So in this case, a good combo to use here by Tidehunter is to use the auto attack E combo. So first you start off with a right click into the Anchor Smash, and that will do more damage in a smaller amount of time. Once again, press to drag the creeps here. Okay, so let's talk about the first few items, especially around the early point of the game. So in this case, the main challenge in the lane will be Witch Doctor. And the way Witch Doctor works is that he pokes you from the trees and is a good amount of threat with Maledict and Cask. So the way that one way to play it is to stay away from the Witch Doctor, so playing on the opposite side of the lane and making sure that Witch Doctor doesn't have a Cask, so that it can bounce between like the last two creeps. So a good way to do it, so Face Boots would be a natural idea. Another way to do it would be just to tank more, so either buying Magic Stick or another Bracer is also another ideal situation. So, but in this case, I think using Magic Stick, because you have a Bristleback in your lane and Witch Doctor with a lot of spam, as well as getting rushing out boots is a good idea, especially Face Boots because it has Chainmail. The other option for Tidehunter, I feel, is to get Arcane Boots. Because Arcane Boots, first of all, solves a lot of mana issues that Tidehunter has. So he's a surprising, even as a strength hero, he's a very spammy character. So you tend to use a lot of your abilities to spam. So Arcane Boots and Bessie, for that matter, is a really good way to like increase the amount of spam that you can do, and that will lead into a very natural item called Guardian Greaves, which enables Tidehunter to play sort of like a more tanky utility-based role.
Oh, Dire's carrier just got killed. Oh, Dire's bottom tower's under attack.
I don't think so.
So just skipping forward here. And I think so once again, another trick here is to use the auto attack Anchor Smash to burst down important units like the range creeps and the siege creeps. So using these two spells. Okay, so one thing to mention is sort of the timings that you're looking at in the lane as Tidehunter. So as we're approaching mid game, it's also important to understand like what is your objective as an offlaner and as a strength core. So the main idea is to create threat and create opportunity for against the safe laner. So even though this safe laner is kind of strong right now, he has more damage than you, but at the same time, as you can see, Anchor Smash does reduce the damage, and then Kraken Cell, so it makes you kind of tanky in the lane. It makes it very hard to kill, and you also have stick charges and bracer. So once you have this strength, even though he has a lot of damage, it makes you also very tanky. So there's sort of like a neutralization point. So neither of you can actually make progress if you play the lane correctly. So what do you do when the lane is neutral? So one way to do it is to push in the wave. So if you consider which hero is better at pushing, so Bristleback does a couple of damage, so let's say around 90, whereas Tidehunter does almost 200 damage per Anchor Smash. So and it's almost the same cooldown. So meaning to say that won't be able to push the lane as much as Tidehunter. So a good way to do it is just to push in the wave, and so that it start hitting the tower, and force it so that supports like the Witch Doctor, who's currently playing bot, will have to force to come back to deal with the tower, because the Bristle won't be able to push the waves as fast as Tidehunter will. And this is also makes it so that the Bristleback will have to tank the creep wave, and even though he does have a passive ability that does reduces his damage taken to him, it does not account for damage taken to the front. So creeps will be hitting Bristleback, and he'll be taking damage and losing health, whereas with Anchor Smash and Kraken Shell, Tidehunter will not be taking as much damage from the melee creeps. So the ideal scenario for this would be for the Tidehunter to push the way to get the wave over here, while Witch Doctor is not there to support the Bristleback, whereas the Bristleback's farming under the tower, and he might even miss because, of course, the tower, you need to time the hits, and there's also threat from Earth Spirit setting up on the Bristleback. So as the creep wave comes, so a natural way and a very good way of synergizing it is to, at certain points in the time of the game, when the siege creeps come online, which do more damage to the towers. So this is roughly around, so they spawn at 5 minutes and they enter the wave at 6. So after pushing the wave around 6, you can try and crash the wave, meaning to say have a huge wave approaching the approaching the tower, as many creeps as possible hitting the tower, and that just means killing the wave as fast as possible. So as you can see here, just using his abilities, the Tidehunter is already pushing the wave faster. So once this wave crashes, as I think it will, so it doesn't crash very hard. Okay, but here, so once it crashes, this puts it into the situation where Bristleback does have to tank, and Tidehunter pretty much has a free game, especially with face boots now unlocks. So the natural thing to do is actually to walk past. So while the tower is hitting the creeps, it gives you a safe opportunity to run past the creep wave and to start clearing this wave, so that this siege creep can free hit the tower, bringing the tower to. And if this is done well, the tower will be around 50% health within the first 5 minutes. So what happens, let's say, this is considered dangerous, but the thing is, at early game, when the support heroes don't have many levels, and especially since this particular support is playing bot lane, it makes it very easy to contest this wave and create this lose-win situation for Bristleback. So let's say the support TP's in. What happens then? Which is a fair question. So in this case, what you can do is you can actually use your face boots and run down. And there are many ways to exit. So there's running down, running up through the side here. And especially with face boots, it makes it easier because at this point in the game, not many heroes do have boots. So 45 moves. So the Witch Doctor here has boots, but no one has the movement speed of a face boot. Also, worth mentioning is that Kraken Shell and Anchor Smash together make it very easy to avoid taking damage when support does TP in, and also using Gush, which slows either the support or the damage dealing hero, and then combining a face boots makes it very easy to escape as Tidehunter.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Leads me to believe that Dire.
So this is probably when it's a reason why it's a good idea to get mana in as Tidehunter. So something like a Basilius would be good, because if you keep up your Anchor Smash, then you'll notice that you'll be able to push the lane more and more times than the Bristleback, who has already run out of mana. And because Bassi is not really a natural item to buy on Bristleback, because it doesn't really lead to any strong items that Bristleback wants to get. Whereas for Tidehunter, it's very natural to build either Blads or Guardian Greaves. So Bassi will enable you to cast more abilities on the wave and escape, whereas Bristleback has already run out of mana. So this is another natural thing consideration to have mana as
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
And slowly you will see that Tidehunter's net worth will slowly equalize as the more and more you neutralize. So the get the better and better ability to stay in the lane versus some of the tanky heroes.
Denied.
So you can see the effect of the Basilius already here. With the Basilius on, the Tidehunter has like more than half mana compared to Bristleback, who has 0 mana. So Bristleback can no longer contest this wave, and so he's only forced to right click. So whereas Tidehunter has full mana, so he has the tools of all of his abilities to fight. So are you actually going to kill this Bristleback? Probably not. But you can create situations where you're winning by making it slightly harder for the Bristleback to play the game.
Killing spree.
So here is where Tidehunter shows how strong he is. So in this case, the Tidehunter has contested the back wave, which has forced a TP from the support. So in this case, there are multiple ways of playing this fight. So the first one is to actually just run using Gush. So let's say you take the damage from take Cask. You would probably just tank the Cask, and using Face Boots you can run south. But then also, using Anchor Smash and the natural defense from Kraken Shell, you're able to just cast it on both heroes and just run, and the enemy team won't be able to do it. Lastly, you also have the idea of in this lane, only Witch Doctor has a stun. So once Cask is over, after Anchor Smashing using Kraken Shell, you can just actually just TP. So that's also another way to do it. Last but not least, you have the threat of Ravage. So in this case, both heroes don't respect the Ravage, which will make it very easy to run. But the problem with using Ravage here is that since this is sort of like a skirmish, it means that the threat of Ravage is over, and it means that you are less likely to be able to stay in lane further on. However, with the Earth Spirit here, there might be enough damage to kill the Witch Doctor, and even maybe the Bristle.
Oh boy, Dire's middle tower under attack.
Women and children.
Dire's middle tower, it's gone. Dire's top tower is
So
under
in this
attack.
case, Face Boots wasn't used, so once could be used here, and another time could have been used here, which would have saved the time to do too much damage. So also in this case, there's probably not a lot of good reason for the Tidehunter to keep running here. So discounting where the Invoker is, the Bristleback will probably kill it within the next 2 seconds. So that's what happens. Just a rule of thumb in general, in Dota, never a good thing to like die. Always better to stay alive, collect XP, get gold, especially when your enemy laner is dead. Alright, so let's skip a bit forward. Maybe 15 minutes time. And let's look at Tidehunter within the next phase of the game. So maybe 15 would be better. Okay, so Tidehunter. So at some point in the game, Tidehunter neutralizes the lane, and it makes it so that you can't actually get the Tidehunter out of the lane. It makes it very annoying to play. So now with the threat of Ravage, and with all your spells even higher leveled, and especially getting the first few abilities, so either something like getting Mechanism or getting Vlad's, it makes it so that or getting Vlad's, it makes it so that you can constantly sustain, and any heroes within the radius of Tidehunter will be able to play, and it gives them a lot of damage and increases the threat that Tidehunter has on the map. So because no one is actually contesting you, it's a good idea to force the heroes to come to you, and when the heroes come to you, then it will make it easier to cast spells like Ravage. So one way of doing that is to constantly be hitting the waves. So timing it according to siege creeps when the cannon is there, it will make it easier to force rotations to the wave. And then also, mainly using this tool to force heroes to come to you, but at the same time they don't want to come to you because you have Ravage, and that will win the fight. So I think I need to reiterate, the main idea of Tidehunter is to force enemies to come to Tidehunter, and when that situation occurs, enemies don't really want to because they have the threat of Ravage. So if they don't want to defend their tower, towers will start falling. So just putting your body there and acting as a tool with your first item will make it very easy to kill the first 3 towers and give Tidehunter's team a lead in the game.
Oh, Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Oh, Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
So funny to note is that even though the tower is attacking the Tidehunter here, Tidehunter is barely taking any damage, and almost you can consider.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Radiant just fortified their structures. You know what I'm
Dire's top
talking
tower is
about?
under attack.
Almost considered he almost sold the tower
Radiant's
just
bottom
by
tower is
tanking,
under
and
attack.
still hasn't lost any health.
Way to go! Radiant's bottom tower is completely gone.
So this is what happens if no one contests Tidehunter. So imagine the situation where the Tidehunter is pushing the tower, but there is a contest. Then with your team behind, usually below the wave, it'll be easier to just ravage and get a really good fight during the defense. So now Tidehunter's probably the next most natural position will be to rotate bot, or to actually just take the jungle, or let his team take the jungle here. With the T1 tower and top and mid gone. Yeah, let's talk about the next item as well that Tidehunter wants to get. So looking at the enemy team, so Tidehunter is all about denying and creating threat on the enemy team. So by denying, what I mean is that he wants to get up in a position where he's unkillable. And when he's unkillable, that means the threat of Ravage is high. So that means that when he's unkillable, Tidehunter is free to do what any objective he wants, and the enemy team will be forced to react. So the enemy team's idea is to get tools to be able to kill Tidehunter. Whereas Tidehunter's idea is to get tools that will help either his team or himself to live longer, so that the threat of Ravage is even stronger. So what item could Tidehunter get? So the main threats for this game is Enigma, which Black Hole will set up very strong abilities in the Death Ward, and also Ag's the Cataclysm from Invoker. So all of this will create a lot of damage. So the thing is, Sunstrike is a. Let me have a look here. So Sunstrike is a pure damage. Death Ward is also pure, and Black Hole is also pure. So this three abilities together makes it very difficult to go the most natural way, which is to build items like Pipe or Crimson Guard, which reduce the amount of damage from like the normal abilities, so like either magic or physical. So in this case, you can't really go the just block damage build. So one way to do it is, another way to think about it is maybe what's an ability that I can do to, sorry, in this case you can't go damage reduction, so maybe you need to go something like damage, or you need to go something that makes the game very annoying for these heroes to play. So if you look back at the game plan of this team, what they want to do is they want to blink onto the damage dealing targets at the back. So either the Lina, probably Lina the most, as is one of the highest net worth in the game, and also the AA at the back. So Enigma wants to stay at the back, finds the back line, do a black hole on multiple targets, and follow up with Death Ward and Cataclysm. So one way of stopping the Enigma from blinking in is actually to use items like Shiva's Guard, from using abilities like Aghanim Scepter, or abilities like Cypher Vice, so that when the Enigma does come in, before the Enigma comes in, Tidehunter uses Shiva's Guard, which will delay and cancel the blink for Enigma. So Aghanim Scepter increases Tidehunter's Gush, so that it has a humongous range, which could also cancel the Enigma's blink if you do have vision. Cypher Vice also makes it so that it's quite difficult for the Enigma to blink in simply. So that would mean if he were to blink in, you could cancel the black hole using Cypher Vice. So that would mean that Enigma needs to farm another item before he's a real big threat. So naturally in this game, a good idea would be to get something like Shiva's Guard, because Shiva's Guard cancels Enigma. It also slows down all of these heroes, so that Bristleback can't chase the back line, and it reduces all of Bristleback's damage because it's all physical. Okay. So the next logical idea is to go Aghanim Scepter, because Aghanim Scepter also provides health, which also is a nice thing for any hero to get, and it also gives all attributes. So things like the mana will be increased, the health will be increased, and the armor will be increased. So it's a really good item to get. Cypher Vice is also a good item, but the thing is that it does only provides intelligence, so it does not actually make Tidehunter stronger. And if you look at the cost of Cypher Vice, it'll take another 2 minutes, assuming you're farming at 500 gold per minute to farm, compared to, like, let's say Aghanim Scepter or Shiva's Guard. I mean, Shiva's Guard is actually pretty expensive, so but it's also a strong item because the build-up is strong because of Vil and Plate Mill, whereas Scythe is not the strongest for Tidehunter, just intelligence and just mana regen, so not really particularly useful until you get this item. So that's probably the case. So another natural item to get actually is to just go Blink Dagger, but the problem with this game is that, well, Blink Dagger is actually pretty good in this game because you can blink in and potentially stun the Witch Doctor, the Enigma, and Invoker. But the thing is, the risk of going Blink Dagger and initiating is that if the heroes can't be killed within 2.4 seconds, then the enemy will be able to counter your team with their spells. So and also the fact that Blink Dagger doesn't actually provide any stats makes it very difficult to justify it. So typically, if Blink Dagger is not necessary in the game, let's say you are the only initiation, but in the game it would make sense to go Blink Dagger. But in this case, because you have Earth Spirit who can jump in from very far, and also Abaddon who is naturally tanky with his ultimate, it makes it that Blink Dagger is not the most necessary item in this game, and rather you just focus on creating threat so that enemies can't challenge you, and it makes it so that the enemies have to deal with you as like a very annoying hero. Okay, so let's move on to another fight. So in this case, which is actually what I wanted to show, Tidehunter is being chased by the enemy team. So the ally heroes are very low. So so this is a situation where Tidehunter actually does really well in, because of naturally abilities like Shiva's Guard, Anchor Smash, and Kraken Shell make it very hard to kill Tidehunter and chase the team using the slows and whatnot. And of course using things like Magic Stick and Chase Boots. So once again, let's go through the options here. So Bristleback's already doing damage to Tidehunter, but with Kraken's Shell, it means that the Ogre's stun or Fire Blast might be cancelled because of the Kraken Shell. So furthermore, with Face Boots, you do run very fast, and combining it with an ability like Gush makes it that Tidehunter goes faster. And lastly, Tidehunter has Anchor Smash. So by constantly spamming this, it means that the heroes around Tidehunter will do less damage to him, making him more survivable. Lastly, and this is probably should only be used if it's desperate, to use Ravage, which allows Tidehunter to just get away within the 2.4 seconds. So as you can see, the stun got cancelled, and the Tidehunter will vary. So, and once again, you eat the Bristlebacks, meaning you lifestealed a bit, and now the Shiva's Guard is going to slow all of these heroes down. So what ends up happening is that now 4 heroes need to join the fight to kill the Tidehunter, and this is very annoying to deal with, especially considering that Tidehunter is not the most farmed in the game. And so with this amount of space, Lina can go can push the tower, and the other heroes on the map can get back out after resetting, let's say TPing or whatnot. Okay, let's move to the end of the game to look at how Tidehunter can like close out games. So once again, Tidehunter is, even at the late game, is extremely hard to kill, and even more so after he's got all his stats and his talents. So so the key ones to call out here is the Anchor Smash damage reduction on 15, the Kraken Shell damage block, and also the Ravage, and the level 25 is also very strong. So all of these talents make it even harder to kill Tidehunter with all the synergies that he already has, as mentioned, with the Vlads and the however, the problem with this game is that Enigma has a very strong high ground because he can blink. He has complete vision of the backline, and he'll be able to jump across the backline and catch the damage-dealing damage-dealing heroes at the back of your allied team. So the idea here is that you need to be the one to create threat, so that the Enigma needs to position behind or in the trees, and allows your damage-dealing heroes to attack the tower. Because the enemy hero doesn't want to go on you, as you have Ravage. If they go on you, it means they're in range of Ravage, and will win them the fight. So you're basically trying to create a lose-lose situation for the enemy team, where if they defend, they will not. If they defend and try to go on you, they get ravaged, and if they don't go on you, their buildings drop. So that's sort of the main idea. So whilst cancelling the blinks with Shiva's guard and creating threat with ravage. And then this kind of strategy, especially combined with items like Aegis and kind of like late game abilities, will make it easier for you to siege high ground. However, the big disadvantage in this case is that Tidehunter doesn't have blink anymore. So meaning to say, doesn't have blink, so that means there's no strong initiation. So luckily, for example, the Abaddon here has overwhelming blink, and then the our Spirit has initiation tool with rolling boulder. Okay, so I think we've gone through sort of like the basic game plan of Tidehunter, but I think I just want to show off a last recap by demoing some of these ideas in demo.
The tide is
So first and foremost,
out.
take level 6 and look at the almost the exact. And then I'll take an enemy here. So let's say the lion chases Tidehunter, and it is quite annoying. But as you can see, just from Ace alone, Tidehunter takes barely any damage, and with just one face boots, the lion won't be able to catch up. So I mean, let's just be fair and maybe give lion boots as well. So in this case, it's very so on top of this, when you add gush, it makes it so that you're completely out and you cover. You almost go out of vision range with gush and with support chasing you. So let's show another example. So let's say you're a bit closer to support. What you can do here is you can anchor smash, and also make it so that you take even less damage. So the lion's almost doing 10 damage per hit here. So with anchor smash. So something like this, and the Tidehunter's out and won't be able to chase. So this is the main idea of why enemy teams don't want to chase Tidehunter, because he has so many tools for escaping. So the other idea is that with the tower, the enemy team can't really kill, as mentioned before, because of all of these tools that he has, and being able to use Ravage to escape is also another idea. So what this means is that Tidehunter can actually just push in the wave. Something like this.
I'm not ready.
And once again, spamming Anchor Smash when it's off cooldown, and then crushing the wave into the tower. So, and then if a support comes up, and let's say they stun, you can gush the support, run away, and the support won't be able to chase in this particular situation. Okay, so so let's bring. Okay, let's show. So the other combo that I talked about was the auto attack Anchor Smash combo. So this allows you to burst the enemy heroes a bit faster in the early stage. So the way it works is you auto attack and then Anchor Smash immediately, and this will do the most amount of damage Tidehunter can. So easier combination would be something like this: you go gush, face boots in, auto attack, cancel, auto attack with the slow from the gush, slowing down so you get this 3-piece combo of the right click and Anchor Smash. And as you can see, that does actually quite a lot of damage. So once again, so that's about 500 damage here before reductions. Okay, so the other core skill to show is the is to do a creep aggro. So how to do is with the creep standing here, you right click the enemy hero, and as you can see, the creeps will come forward, and this will allow you to play a bit safer. So let's say the support is trying to harass you, you can drag the creeps backwards. So like this once again. Oh.
Tide be over.
And yeah, so it allows you to, so once again I'm going to show you right click the enemy once, and then the creeps will follow you. You can do it even a second time to get them even further back. So like this. So just to note that this can only work every 3 seconds. So just spamming the hero won't be able to do it. Okay, I think that's all for Tidehunter. Hopefully this video is useful. and you can have learned a lot from it. Okay, thanks for watching.